Hey guys, welcome to my YouTube. I'm super excited to be sharing this look with you all today, as it is probably one of my most requested makeup looks that I get from my clients. So it is just a nice simple bronzy smoky eye with glowing skin and a nudie pinky gloss, and I'm with my beautiful friend Lily today, so I hope you'll enjoy it. Let's get started. Now before this video we have already prepped Lily's skin, so we've cleansed her face and then gone in with the Mercier Radiant Skin Primer and then a little bit of the iconic London Illuminating Drops. Now, love using the illuminating drops underneath foundation, as I find as your skin oxidizes with the foundation, the glow comes through and it gives you just that nice, fresh, glowy look. Now as you can see, I've already started applying the foundation. Now I'm just using my Napoleon Flawless foundation brush, and then I'm using the Nars Sheer Glow foundation in the shade Barcelona. So generally I like to use probably 1 to 2 pumps of foundation all over the face, and that's about it. I find that if you go any more than that, it starts to look a little bit cakey and it's a lot harder to blend out and it's not as natural. So I start on the cheeks and then work my way out to the corner of the face. When applying foundation to the forehead, I try to use as little product as possible, just because I find if you go too overboard, it starts to look a little bit too cakey. So just use minimal product and blend it out evenly. So next, what I like to do is go in with my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush, which has probably actually been one of my all-time favorite brushes for the last 4 years. What I like to do is buff the foundation in as much as possible, and as you can see, I'm sort of pushing the foundation into the skin, which is the same sort of technique as applying foundation with a beauty blender. Using my Nars Creamy Concealer in the shade Custard, I'm just going in underneath Lily's eyes and lightly concealing using small brush strokes, and I'm just going to extend that out towards her ears to lightly highlight the face. Going back in with my Napoleon Flawless foundation brush, I'm just going to lightly pat in the concealer, and I'm going to evenly blend it down the face, so into the foundation, just so that there's not a big colour difference between the foundation and the concealer. So once that's all evenly blended, what I like to do is then bring the concealer up over the eyelids to sort of double as a base for the eyeshadow. Now, just to ensure that all the product is evenly blended and pushed into the skin, I am then going to go back in again with my Real Techniques Expert Face Brush and just push that concealer into the skin as much as possible, just to make sure that there's no creasing underneath the eyes. So next I'm just going in with a small angled fluffy brush and my Mercier Translucent powder, and I'm just setting underneath the eyes to ensure that there's no creasing. Just before I go in with the Mercier Translucent powder, I just like to make sure that any creasing underneath the eyes is smoothed out with my ring finger. Then I'm just going through and lightly patting on the powder all over the face. Now I find powdering the face does help reduce oiliness throughout the day, and it keeps the makeup in place. Going in with the same translucent powder and a dry beauty blender, I am just baking the face. So by baking, I am compressing a translucent powder underneath the eyes, basically following the areas where we concealed. Then I'm going to apply a small amount of the translucent powder just along the jawline from the ears to the mouth, just to naturally highlight the face. Onto brows. Now I'm just quickly combing through Lily's brows with the Anasatasia Beverly Hills Clear Brow Gel, just brushing them up lightly for that more natural look. I'm just going in with the Anasatasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Blonde and an angled eyebrow brush. I'm just extending the ends of Lily's eyebrows out slightly just to shape her face a little bit more. Using small brush strokes, I'm then going to go through the front of the brow using whatever product's left on the brush. And I'm just going back in with that same clear brow gel and combing the eyebrows into place. Moving on to the eyes, I'm just smoothing out any creasing with my ring finger, and then I'm going in with a MAC Studio Fix powder and setting down the eyelids. Now using a fluffy blending brush, I'm just warming up the crease with the semi-sweet chocolate bar palette from Too Faced. I'm using the shades Mousse and Peanut Butter. Now I'm just using a windscreen wiper technique through the crease, bringing that back and forth. With the same product, I'm just focusing more on the outer V of the eye and warming up through the crease a little bit more. Now using a flat eyeshadow brush, I'm just going to apply my MAC Vanilla Pigment all over the lid. As you can see, I'm just going in with a patting technique, which I find by patting on the eyeshadow is making the colours look a lot more pigmented and it stands out a lot more. Then I'm just extending the vanilla pigment into the inner corner of the eye. Using the same pigment again, I'm just going in and highlighting the cupid's bow, the bottom lip, and down the bridge of the nose. Going back in again with my semi-sweet chocolate bar palette, I am just going through the outer V with the shade Truffled, and I'm just shading through just to add a little bit of dimension to the eyes. Now the easiest way I like to explain this step to people is basically I'm creating a C shape on the corner of the eye, and I'm creating a tint tone shade look, so I'm lightly shading the darker shadow across the lighter pigment. You want it to go from dark, medium, light. Now that I've built up the colour on the outer V, I'm going back in with the same white fluffy blending brush, and I'm just blending through the crease again with the shade Peanut Butter in the semi-sweet chocolate bar palette. And just sweeping the shadow all the way through the crease and basically into the inner corner. Next I'm going in with one of my all-time favourite pigments, which is the Napoleon Perdis Starlight pigment. Oh, probably got a little bit of fluff on my brush, and I'm just lightly patting on the pigment onto the eyelid, being careful not to go over the top of the dark areas. And I'm just making sure that that's blending evenly across. So again, you want that tint tone shade look, so blending evenly from dark to light. Honestly, I have no idea why, but I just find dusting away baking to be so satisfying. Now you guys noticed that I did actually leave the baking on throughout the whole eye makeup look, because I find that when you leave the baking on, what it does is it catches the fallout from the eyeshadow, and when you dust it away, there's literally no dark lines, no eyeshadow marks on the face. Then I'm just blending the rest of the powder into the skin, ensuring that all the product's pushed in and there isn't any excess powder left on the face, because I find that if there's excess powder, that's when it causes white flashback. Just with a large fluffy powder brush, I'm just going to bronze up the whole face with one of my Hourglass bronzers. And I'm going to be 100% honest with you guys, I honestly cannot remember which one I've used, so I'll leave the name of it below. Now I'm just going to apply a generous amount of mascara to Lily's lashes. Personally, I find that when you apply mascara before eyelashes, it makes it a lot easier to apply them, and it actually makes them look a lot fuller and fluffier. Using the end of one of my makeup brushes, I'm just going in with a very small amount of glue and applying it to the lashes. So the easiest way I find sticking down false lashes is by focusing on the outer corner first, so making sure they're nice and securely stuck down on the outer corner, and then work your way across. Once the eyelashes are securely stuck down, you then want to go in with a little bit more mascara and then push up your client's eyelashes from underneath, making sure that they aren't hanging down too low so it's not uncomfortable. Just going in with a small dense eyeshadow brush, and I'm applying the shade Peanut Butter from the Semi Sweet Chocolate Bar palette. I'm applying that from the outer corner all the way into the inner corner. Going back in with the shade Truffled from the Semi Sweet Chocolate Bar palette, and I'm just shading underneath the eyes again, but only bringing it halfway across the bottom lid this time. With this step, you're focusing on intensifying the darker brown shade, so you really want to pack on that colour. And just applying some mascara to the bottom lashes. Going in with a bronze eyeliner and just lining Lily's waterline. I find that using a brown liner instead of black is amazing because it ties the look together without being too overly intense. I'm just going to add a little bit of an inner corner highlight using a flat eyeshadow brush, my Inglot Sparkle dust, and then I'm going to intensify that a little bit with the MAC Fix Plus spray. Using one of my Hourglass bronzers, I'm just going to lightly contour and bronze up Lily's face. Firstly, I like to start off below the cheekbones, and then I'm going to bring the contour up through the side of her face and then around the temples of her forehead. Using the same Hourglass bronzer, I'm just going to lightly contour down the sides of Lily's nose. Now I'm just going to apply a light amount of blush onto the apples of Lily's cheeks, and then I'm going to bring that up through the contour as well. Now I'm using the shade Warm Soul by MAC. Now I'm just going to go in with one of my all-time favourite highlighters, which is Soft and Gentle by MAC. I'm just going to highlight the higher points of Lily's face, which is her cheekbones, and then I'm going to bring that up through her temple and above the ends of her eyebrows. For lipstick, we're going in with the shade Pure Zen by MAC. This next product probably has to be one of my all-time favorites. Now it's the Mecca Lip Luscious Lip Pot in the shade Nude, and honestly it's such an amazing topper for the lips. Just finishing the look off with a Too Faced Hangover Setting Spray. I really hope you all enjoyed this makeup tutorial. If you did, give it a thumbs up and leave some suggestions below of the next makeup look I should try.